It's a trap!
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I break your concentration?
This is the Team of Rivals podcast.
Everything you want to hear from the big sports to the big screen.
He's all by himself, fires into the end zone. Caught! Touchdown! No! Vaughn into the windup in his first offering. Just a bit outside. He tried the corner this.
He doesn't like you. I don't like you either.
Time winding down. Michael for three. Yes! She is gone! I don't believe what I just saw. Go crazy, folks! Go crazy! You believe in miracles? Yes!
You may fire when ready.
What?
All right, everyone. Welcome back to the show. The first thing I'm going to ask my co-host to do before I bring him on here is to get out that little device you might have in front of you and just make sure we're going out to the places we're supposed to. Oh, look at him moving. You guys can't see him. I can. Great to be back. Sorry we haven't done a show for a couple of weeks, but we've had some busy schedules here. I know Pete's been on the move, and you know, quite frankly, we were all just waiting on the season to start, which it did on Friday around the league. Actually, I think it did on Thursday with a couple games. I think on Friday it really opened up. But we'll talk a little bit about baseball getting back and underway, probably a little bit about some of the issues baseball is running into at this point. And I think we have some other news on a few other fronts as well. But it's great to be back with my my two co-hosts, because we're all back this time. We have Mr. Geddes and we have Elliot. I don't know if we're on Facebook or not. I tried to check it while the intro music was playing. I didn't realize my face was still on the screen. Caught that a little bit late too. But here, let's let everybody else see you. There you are. How you doing, guys? You guys okay?
Yeah, no, I was waiting for Elliot to say something. I was
okay. I was like, oh man, are we having this issue again? I can't bear another one. But yeah, I was going through
show, or is this it? Are we done?
I think we're getting close. Man, we're on the 18th hole. Yeah, I was just checking to see if our actual feed went out, because I don't know. Normally, I'm pretty good about jumping all over that, but so
yeah, we're on YouTube. We are live.
We are live on YouTube. Okay, great. I'm just scrolling through Facebook. I don't see us on there, but
hey, 2 out of 3 ain't bad.
Yeah, 2 out of 3. That's that's a 667. That's Hall of Fame territory there. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what the issue is.
Said.
What? I don't know what the issue would be on Facebook, but we're not showing up there evidently. But whatever. I don't care. I'll share it out on Twitter then, since Twitter seems to have its shit together. I see Elle is up and roaming around on Twitter, showing some workout footage. Good for her. I don't know, Pete, if you've been following things. We had her on a couple weeks ago to kind of sit in your seat while you were out. She put yet another one of those before and after at age 25, was it, Elliot? And then another one at age 43. Yeah. And it's like, that will spin your head around. So good for her. And she's still working away. Gosh, this evening. So,
yeah, she's said, she's chipped away over the years. So, for all those people out there that follow her and kind of looking to do the same thing, it's a journey, man. I mean, you can't expect to see results after 30 days, 60 days when you're going on that long of a journey, and it's work. I mean, to do something like that, you have to treat it like a second job, but I know it can also be enjoyable. So.
Yeah, and I think that's where a lot of people slip up and fail. I know I certainly have in the past. You don't see the results quick enough, so you think nothing's working, and it's right. It's a pilgrimage, I guess, to get where you want to get, really. So I know I'm still working on it, because I've been fat boy here for a while, and I'm actually surprised I've actually maintained weight over the quarantine. I actually haven't added anything on. Elliot, you've taken a lot off. We were just commenting before we went on live tonight. What are you down to?
You know what? I haven't stepped on a scale,
Okay.
but I feel like right before everything kind of shut down, that I did kind of put on that COVID 15, or that freshman 15, if you will. But as soon as I try to do stuff at home, and it's not the same. I kind of have to get out of the house to feel like I'm doing the work. Um, so I feel like I'm probably down maybe halfway from where I was right before we went into quarantine. So
Good for you, Pete. Where are you at? We don't even notice. You've looked the same for like 18 years, 19 years since I've known you. I don't really know you as one to gain weight or to lose a ton. You've just always been tall and thin.
Well, that's very kind of you. But about say 10 years ago, I topped out at 223, and that was
What'd you have? A little love handle, and that's about it, or oh,
a little bit of chubby cheeks then.
Face looked fat. There were definitely some rolls. I just got on the scale last week, and I finally got back down to 200. So last time I weighed myself, I was at 198.
yeah. When I'm right at 200, I really should be about 195 is probably the goal for me. But I fluctuate between 197 and 200 every time I step on. So my wife knows every time I step on too. She got one of those scales that reports it on the phone. So yeah. I don't know if that's a good or bad idea.
I think that's when you need to turn off the Wi-Fi.
Yeah, right. Or just change the password. Yeah, I could do that.
Cannot connect. Sorry.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't know what
I haven't weighed
happened.
myself for a week. I've had a lot of pizza this week, though. I tell you what, Ellie, you couldn't have had this while you're out, 'cause I think it arrived before you or after you were gone. They have this Pete. I don't know if we had it when you were out here. It's called Ghostface. Do you remember that? Did I take you to a brewery called Ghostface?
Yes.
Goes.
Yes.
They have and I've been eating the hell out of this. It's called the Ghostface Pizza, right? It's a pizza company that's kind of within this microbrew or craft brewery, and it's got fresh jalapenos and pepperoni
I
on
will
it.
tell you, we didn't do much eating that day, so I don't recall any pizza. In fact, I don't think
maybe
we
we
did any
didn't.
eating that day.
Yeah, maybe we didn't, but I've been eating this called Ghostface, where it has fresh jalapenos and pepperoni. And I tell you what, man, I don't know how many of those I've consumed over quarantine, but it's been a shit ton of them. But they are fabulous. They're only 9-inch pizzas, so they're not very big. But pizza's
Is a
been
shit
my.
ton bigger than a metric ton, or?
Boy, I tell you what, mentally it feels like it because I've probably eaten 24 of those things since we've been on quarantine. But they're amazing. So there's my pizza recommendation locally. My recommendation for watching baseball lately is well. Let me ask you this: you guys, Pete, I know you've been really busy, and I know you've been busy at night too. I don't know if you've caught any games, but just quick, guys, what's been your impression of seeing how they're trying to execute these telecasts, having no fans in the stands? What do you guys? How do you guys feel about that?
I was able to watch one game because I'm a cord cutter and I don't have marquee right now. So I've actually listened to more games than I've watched, which has been great.
You wouldn't know the
I missed
difference on
that.
radio,
No,
right?
exactly. But it's been great. The last time I was on, I was in a really foul mood.
I could tell.
And I didn't realize how much I had missed it until this past week, having it on in the background. As I was doing stuff around the house or as I was driving to and from my dad's and having
Right.
a baseball game on, it brought back a sense of normalcy in a very abnormal world. The one game I did watch, sorry, I've caught a couple of games, when I've been out, because they've been on the bar TVs or the restaurant TVs or whatever. And it's just weird, because Fox is playing with that technology to put fake fans.
That was annoying as shit.
It doesn't work. They did it at Wrigley. They did it when I was watching.
No, what is that? Explain what that is.
Dodgers Giants game.
What is the fake technology?
They're using. They're lifting crowd scenes from I think it's from MLB The Show.
Video games, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And so they can on the spot they can change the composition of the crowd, so they can change it from 50-50 Cubs and Brewers fans to they can make it 75-25 or they can do whatever they want to do. But
Okay.
it doesn't quite work because they don't have all of the borders clearly delineated. So you've got fans who are like standing in the dugout at Wrigley. And they don't do it.
all the time.
But also, yeah, they don't do it all the time.
Yeah.
It seemed at least at Wrigley that they had a challenge doing it in the bleachers. It didn't seem to work as well. And also, it really doesn't play when there's a foul ball that gets, popped up and goes into the stands and the crowd doesn't react. Right. Like we all know what it looks like when a foul ball goes into the stands or when a home run gets hit, right? You can see that section of the grandstand or of the bleachers rise as people start getting ready to try to catch the ball. And it doesn't happen because, they don't have that kind of granularity in their control of the crowd. They can just choose what they look like.
Elliot, before I hear from you on this, because I've got my take on it as well. Pete, if you got your keyboard handy there, could you post a link either to YouTube or Periscope on Facebook? I don't believe the feed went out live on Facebook for whatever reason. I think I must have to re-authenticate on this thing, but it didn't go out on Facebook. So if you could send a link, so Greg and CJ can find us, I guess, or anybody else that wants to come over to. It didn't go out on Facebook. I'm not too terribly torn up about that, gentlemen. So, Elliot, what's your impression of this? Do you think whether or not it's being executed well, it's got to be a tough thing to do. It's not like they had a ton of time to plan for it.
Yeah.
But just how are the games landing on you?
Pretty good, actually. More than I thought it was going to. I paused my YouTube TV and subscribe to Hulu Live. I couldn't not do it so that I could get Marquee.
Oh,
because I am also like Pete, where I am a cord cutter.
I think all three of us are.
As much as it pained me to give Hulu my money after those super tacky Twitter ads that Marquee had posted that said, "Hey, YouTube TV subscribers, you can only get Marquee Network on Hulu Live." And I'm like, you mother. And I'm like, it's not cool the way that how they marketed this online, that you can only get it on Hulu Live as a cord cutter. It's like, give me the goddamn choice and strike a deal with YouTube TV. And I feel like maybe there was something in the terms with Hulu Live where we want to be your place for streaming Marquee Network.
Mm-hmm.
And they're forcing people to choose. And guess what? Yeah, I'm going to choose. I'm going to have Hulu Live through the season, and then I'm cutting your ass as soon as the season's over, and I'm going back to YouTube TV because Hulu Live or Hulu, your UI sucks.
I've heard that. Terrible. I've heard the same thing. That's the biggest knock on it.
And I will go back to YouTube as soon as the season's over, or as soon as all these playoff games go to network TV, and I don't have to have Marquee Network.
Or as soon as the Marlins take down the entire Major League Baseball
exactly system. Yeah, which could be in
Marlins
about a week.
Hey, I got something. A funny thought crossed my mind earlier in the week, and I was yes, he is.
Yeah, he's busy right now. Sorry.
Get out. It's Elliot's special time. Get out.
I didn't even hear it. What my headphones?
She said, "Are you doing a podcast?"
Is that my mom?
Yeah. I assume it's your mom.
Oh, that's hilarious.
A funny thing crossed my mind. I'm like, there are certain players that if you were to just look at certain players and personalities and their decision making abilities, there's certain players you looked at, and before any of this started, you could have went, that dude's gonna get COVID. Like, how not surprised were you to hear that Yasiel Puig got coronavirus? Like, I would have been more surprised if he hadn't got coronavirus. I mean, aren't there certain guys you just know they're going to do it? You know they're not going to be responsible. He licks
his bat, and he probably licks the handles going through the subway, and he licks his car handle. And maybe when he goes shopping, he's like, "You're going to get me some good groceries."
Oh, yeah. Or licks his credit card as soon as they hand it back to him. I mean, but there are certain people you just knew. Like, that guy's going to get it. He's just going to get it. And I don't know who else in this league. Like, there's some that have been a little. It's like Freddie Freeman seems like a pretty rational dude, right? He's not a big risk taker. Puig was I don't know. It made me laugh because I'm like, well, of course he's gonna get it. That's why it killed his deal with the Braves ultimately. Which I thought that would have been a pretty good signing for the Braves. I mean, a short season like that, I think bringing him in, what the hell, that was a low risk thing. But of course, he shoots himself in his own dick like usual. I mean, so I don't know if there's other players around that kind of struck you as funny, but I only would have been surprised had that dude not got it, because that's just got him written all over it, right?
Yep.
Anyway,
so with this story with the Marlins, the blame goes to Mattingly, right? I mean,
I don't know.
Kind of. I feel like
they're in Miami. I mean,
that I've read,
the fact is they're in Florida.
Fault.
Yeah, well, the fact is they're in Florida, right? In Florida, everybody's getting it in Florida. So, I had another thing coming. Before I go to that, I want to give my comments on just the games I've been watching.
Yeah.
Look,
actually, though, I saw something. Let me just say, I saw something today. Apparently, it seems that they may have gotten it when they were in Atlanta, when they were playing their warm-up games. Their final preseason games before the season actually started, that's where they think that they may have contracted it, just based on the incubation period and everything. But that having been said, the team, their average age is like 28. I was looking at it. They only have 10 guys who are 30 or over, right? What do you expect a team essentially full of kids to do, right? Like, they're going to take this seriously. They have nothing to play for. They don't know how to win. They've never been in the playoffs. They're not going to take this seriously, but an older team, a team that has experienced success in the playoffs, like the Cubs, they're taking this shit fucking serious. Like, Anthony Rizzo was tweeting in the dugout today during the rain delay with Cincinnati. Like, it's really the best idea to have players sitting in a clubhouse for 8+ hours waiting for rain to blow over. Like, you need to be quicker on these calls. That's not something you would expect to come out of Miami, because they don't fucking care. They want to go out and get their, their party on.
Yep. Yep. Hey, though, my impression, though, in just watching the games as they've returned, if you're focused on what's happening, if you're focused on the batter, pitcher, whatever, balls and strikes, what's happening, I almost don't notice what's going on and behind the backstop. I really don't. I mean, of course, I think the cutouts. Look, the cutouts are kind of silly. Some of these parks have cutouts. They're oversized heads. They look like Mario Kart characters in little tiny seats. But I get over all that stuff. I really. I won't go into the cutouts yet, but look, when they're showing any shots where they're not showing the stands, it really feels no different. I think they're doing the best they can with this, and I think some of this is for the mindset of the players. But I'm glad they're doing it on the broadcast, because look, I don't want to hear everything that they're talking about down on the field, right? And I don't want to hear this. I don't want a home run hit and hear some hollow, empty, soulless clank off an empty bleacher seat. For a home run. I don't want to hear that, right? So really, I think they're doing the best they can. It doesn't bother me. I'm just really surprised at how many people out there on social media are torn over the fake sound. Like, who gives a shit? I'd rather have it there than not there. You know what I mean?
Honestly, Ron, I disagree. I want to hear them talking shit to each other. Put it on
I want
to hear Joe
Dusty
Kelly
Baker yelling from the dugout, "Get your ass to the mound, mother."
But you know what? Honestly, it's I want to get to the Astros thing here in a second, because that's an interesting thing. I would have loved to hear what the exchange between Correa and Joe Kelly, though. That would have been great.
Right?
Yeah, obvious. Yeah.
But well, it would have been nothing but beeps anyway, so we wouldn't have heard anything. But really, the stadium noise doesn't bother me whatsoever. I'd rather have it there than not there. I think the fake firework sounds is a little much, but okay, whatever. We'll go with it. And
why do you need fake fireworks? You can't get a permit to shoot off fireworks if that's part of your usual home run thing.
We'll see. The Cardinals really haven't had to have firework sounds anyway, but we'll get into that later.
Yeah, your team kind of sucks right
if the Reds can do it, certainly the Cardinals can do it.
I think I heard it on the radio. I don't know if they actually shot them off in the stadium or not, but I heard it on the radio, because I had on MLB TV, which you guys can't get there because you're too close, but. I had the radio overlay over the video, and so I could hear the radio guys instead of the TV guys. And I usually flip-flop back every other inning. They did. They had fireworks sounds on the radio side. So I thought it was funny. But anyway.
You weren't listening to a road game in Comiskey Park, were you? Because it might not have been on the fireworks. It might have actually been gunfire from the south side of Chicago. It's difficult to tell right now.
Yeah. Well, I think St. Louis has had its fair share of issues with that stuff too. But anyway, so just I guess to switch over to this Marlins thing, I don't know how much of this was true, right? We heard that. Well, They found out a Sunday morning, last Sunday, that they had a few tests come back positive, and they still elected to play. And the rumor was
No,
at least
it was Friday.
I thought this was Sunday when they started getting results back.
No, it was Friday. They got the first test result.
And they played all the way through Sunday?
Yes.
Okay, so here's the part. Okay, whether it was Friday or Sunday doesn't matter to me. Here's what matters to me. Why in the hell is it a player vote, whether you play or not? Like, it shouldn't be their decision at all. It shouldn't be their decision at all. They should, whoever came in contact with that positive person, I mean, they all should have been out for however long, or unless they keep testing negative. But I mean, if that was truly a player vote, like, you can't put shit up. Like, and to Pete's point he made earlier, it's the Marlins, right?
A bunch of kids.
Yeah,
like
I'm not having a bunch of 20-year-olds make a health decision. Like, I would have look, and I'm talking to me as a 20-year-old as well. I would have been out there playing. I was an idiot.
Yeah.
Pete knows.
Yes, you were.
I mean, so it should never. No way is it a player, and that is a. I don't look at Don. Well, yes, I some of that Don Mattingly should know better, but you know what? There should have been better guidelines, or strict guidelines, or enforceable guidelines, or any guidelines with any kind of teeth whatsoever that enforce this. And there's clearly not.
I thought that there already were.
Yeah, well, clearly there's not.
I think surprises me more than anything is that.
Does it surprise you? Does it surprise you? MLB didn't really set this up in such a way where they wouldn't have even that a vote's not even an option, right? But it's baseball, right. So why does that surprise you?
Right. Although, I wonder if they maybe tried to do that and got pushback from the Players Association. I don't know.
Well, yeah. There's always that part too. I mean,
but apparently they've come out with some more stringent guidelines just in the last 24 hours as far as what's going to happen. I guess every team is now going to have a compliance officer who basically creates a seating chart for the children because they can't be trusted to socially distance themselves. So
that's why we can't have
Bryant
nice
and Anthony
things.
Rizzo, you guys cannot sit next to each other on the plane because we know that we can't trust you to not hit each other.
Not playing grab ass on the plane.
You're going to sit in the back.
Okay.
Chris, you're going to sit in the front of the plane.
And this is the two guys where Anthony Rizzo's got hand sanitizer in his back pocket and giving it to the guys as they get to first base. And then Chris Bryant, as soon as he gets to first base, putting a mask on. I mean,
right.
These guys, they are taking it seriously.
Yeah. There are clearly going to be some, Elliot. And if you think about, Chris Bryant has a fairly young kid. And I don't know what Rizzo's kid status is at all. I don't think he has any.
I think she's pregnant.
No.
Okay. Well, that's even worse, right?
Maybe.
Would you get into his trash can? Find a pea stick?
Rizzo's immune compromised anyways because he's had
cancer treatment. Yeah, exactly. So well, I don't think that they're singling out guys like that at all. I think it's look, we know that there are 30 players per team right now. 30 teams. There's 900 people. What are the chances you have a couple uncontrollable assholes out there that are just going to wreak havoc on a clubhouse because they can't keep themselves in check, right? And we knew that's going to happen. You can't have 900
because they live in South Florida. Right?
Yeah.
Like,
right.
All you need is somebody who's I mean, Ron, imagine the two of us when we first met. Okay, we were bad enough.
Mm-hmm. I would have been patient zero. Okay.
Then you throw Mac into the mix. Mm-hmm. Okay, now and Dustin. Now transport the four of us to Miami. Oh, Jesus Christ, we would have been just a walking disease ward. Like, seriously, we would have had to have been quarantined just walking down the street among the four of us because we would have been completely out of control. I'm not excusing those guys, but they're young guys. Like, they're at the minimum, they're making $500,000 and they are living their best possible lives. Like, they give a fuck about a pandemic.
No, because they're highly likely to be okay.
Interviewed at the beginning where they're like, I'm not going to let this shit ruin my spring break. I'm getting crunk.
Exactly.
I mean,
I
haven't heard crunk in 10 years. So
I've never heard it. It's the first time I've ever heard it.
I was taking myself back to spring break 2005, maybe.
Did you get crunk?
I don't know.
What is crunk? I need a definition on that because I truly don't know what the hell that means.
It's when you're drinking, I don't know, Hypnotic.
Don't
remember that?
Still don't know what that is.
The Green Monster?
Nope.
No, the Incredible Hulk.
You're not helping. Nothing. None of this helps my understanding of what that means.
I don't know. They rap about it.
Jesus. I'm a country music fan. I mean, everything you've thrown out there to try to help me understand what this means, none of it's helped. It's actually gone backwards. Okay, never mind. We're moving on from that.
Whatever. I'm 39 for like 4 more hours.
You know what?
I can use that language.
None
for
of
4
these
more hours.
None of these age changes had really ever bothered me. But there is something about coming out of your 20s and then coming out of your 30s where you are looking at those last hours on the clock and you're like, shit, I can't say I'm a 30-something anymore. Right?
I know, it's terrible.
It's weird. And Pete's getting closer to a number that I can't even fathom.
I've got 3.5 years, you piece of shit.
You got to round up, man. That's what I'm looking at. Yeah, I see. I can round down. I can say I'm 40. Yeah, I wish.
No, you can't.
I know. All right, so yeah, we have some complications out there. Evidently, there's been another series that was canceled this week, and I believe it was the Blue Jays, and I don't know if it was the Phillies again or what, but there's been another series.
Well, the Phillies got held off because they had just played the Marlins.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Held
And
off
so
to
they got
supposed to
held
have been
off,
this
and
weekend.
And it was the
Yesterday-
Yankees that were supposed to be in Philly,
Correct.
and they got held off because they needed to fumigate the visitor room. So
And it just gets worse because what was it yesterday? I think the Phillies had 2 positive tests.
Yeah, well, it was a clubhouse person and a coach.
And one of the coaches,
Yep.
right? But I mean, look at the
that's-
way that it happened with the
that-
Marlins, right? That's
that's
just the
best case scenario.
Yeah, it's
It
a 7
is,
to 10
it
day
is.
But
incubation.
the Phillies are gonna keep them quarantined and not say, "Hey, let's play a game anyways, and let's all get around each other."
No, they seem to have been a little bit more proactive in limiting this thing. And yeah, I believe it was the Blue Jays and Phillies games are postponed for this weekend as well, which is kind of birthed a new 7-inning doubleheader that the MLBPA and Major League Baseball have agreed to.
I hope it happens.
I don't think it. You know what? You got to do it. You got to do it, and because you got to make these games up. You can't miss a week in a 60-game schedule. Excuse me, and think that you're going to have a fair outcome at the end, because clearly, look, Cardinals are going to be playing their 6th game. 10% of their season's gone tomorrow, right? You miss a week, that's 10% of your season, right? You're at least playing 6 games every week. They got to make it up. I think it's a smart idea.
Especially with anticipating, they've only got, what is it? I think it's 10 days off total over the course of this schedule.
Yeah.
So any rain out, you only have so many off days that you can take before it just becomes untenable. So you're going to have to start doing.
Have they announced what the Cubs and Reds are going to do? Because they were postponed tonight because of weather as well.
TBD right now.
Okay. So they'll likely be looking at the same
they'll
thing.
play again, so it's more than likely going to be a doubleheader.
Yeah.
During one of their next series.
Okay. I think it's a smart idea. I'm sure that was an easy agreement. There was no back and forth on that one. I like it. Some people might. I don't know who's going to be arguing about records this year. Yeah, I'm the RBI leader this year at the end of 60 games, or I'm the home run leader. But I played 4 less innings than that guy because I played a doubleheader and he didn't. So it's going to kind of be interesting to see are there any battles like that late in the year where you look at, so-and-so played 6 less innings than this guy. I mean, I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think anybody's going to give a shit about records this year.
I don't think anybody's going to give a shit about the number of games played. Like normally we are
right.
Like,
especially if you're way out of it, right?
163 games, but if the Marlins only play 55 games, is any going to be like, no, this was not a legitimate season?
Because at 55 games, you're still going to be 10 and a half out, so nobody's going to care.
Exactly.
So
I think the only people that really are going to care are the pitchers are going to be like, well, my goal is every year to pitch 200 innings. Like John Lester, it's like he said it 13
it's already not going to happen.
Yeah. He's not going to do it.
Yeah.
So pretty much is if they can get to maybe like 100, then that kind of hits their goal halfway through.
Well,
so.
I don't know I don't know how exactly they're treating these incentivized contracts. I'm sure they're prorating them like anything else, right? Like if you
absolutely.
pitched, so I don't think those guys have much to worry about. Now the rainouts and the shortened games may affect that, but I'm sure all of it's going to be prorated. So if you played 55, they'll base it off of that. So I don't think there's going to be an issue there. What's interesting about this year, there was milestones that some players were going to reach. Albert Pujols is really close to, I think, gosh, I might get this wrong, but he's about to pass somebody really big on the home run list. And Yadier Molina had games caught and games in a Cardinal uniform and things that he's about to catch too. So Yeah, it's really is crazy that, some of these milestones are going to get overlooked. They're going to be glossed over because right now everybody's so worried about everything else, and the games are so intense, and the season's going to go by so quick that some of those things are going to, I don't think, imagine like you hit, imagine you hit like home run number whatever, right? And it's a really big fucking deal, and nobody's in the seats, right? Who's giving you that? Look, somebody needs to get creative when a milestone's coming up. They need to have crowd noise that demands a standing O. They just need to do it.
So interesting for that.
Yeah.
Ian Happ had an idea today on 670 The Score I read about, and I wasn't going to bring it up, but you just kind of flowed right into it, Ron. Ian Happ's suggestion was, and it would have to be like a big thing, like, a game-changing home run or the third home run of a game or something. But he said what he's trying to convince his teammates to do is if somebody gets a big home run like that, everybody leaves the dugout and goes up into the stands, so that the guy who hits the home run comes back to an empty dugout, and then they're losing their mind, so he has to come out for the curtain call.
I like it.
Well, and I gotta imagine with like all these big boards too, maybe you could do something like select a bunch of fans that have Microsoft Teams or something like
or
that,
Zoom,
or
right?
Zoom,
Yeah.
and put them up on there, and then just like show them cheering, throughout the game or whatever. Like pick reactions that they have to like a play and replay it, or just all of a sudden like during like a big play, just put it on there and get their at that moment reaction. I think that would be pretty cool. And
well, I didn't mention this earlier. I think that's a cool idea, and I don't know why they don't do that already. That'd be a very easy thing to do. You're in a lottery. You're one of 20 people that gets to get in on a big Zoom call or something, and I think that's a great idea. The other thing that I was kind of hit me when I was thinking about the cutouts, because the Cardinals aren't doing cardboard cutouts, and I tell you this, the Cardinals the Rockies are like the pinnacle of fan PR, right? They're the best. They got the best Twitter account by far.
Twitter is awesome.
Right. The Cardinals maybe are kind of like in the bottom 10, seriously, and. Look, whether you have cardboard cutouts or not, it's not a huge deal, but I just wish they were, and I wish they were doing it in a way that would get fans to participate in this. Right? I kind of like seeing that back there. It's kind of funny because you're never going to be able. This is never going to happen. Well, hopefully, right? Like this never happens again. But if you sold your cardboard cutouts, right, which I'm sure other teams are doing for charity, Cardinals should have done the same thing. Should have done it for Cardinals Care, any number of things. But the other thing they could have done, if you say you buy one and they post it out there in the bleachers, if a home run ball hits your cutout, they mail you that home run ball autograph. I mean, just like they're not doing stuff like
awesome.
that, or a foul ball, anything, and they're just not doing that kind of stuff, and it just kind of bugs me,
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a team that's also has the cutouts of like famous people. No, I think it's the White Sox. Like they've got like a really old school picture of like David Kaplan, and like I think they have like Sesame Street people in there, and just like all these different like famous celebrities and stuff like that. So I mean that's totally something the Cardinals could do with like pictures of like John Hamm and a couple of like the famous Cardinal people that are Cardinals fans. Yeah, put the Marlin Man behind home plate for every single freaking team because he's always there
anyway. Yeah.
Yes.
Like Forrest Gump photobombing everything. Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Lieutenant Dan right next to him.
Yeah, there you go. That'd be awesome. Or just have Forrest in there somewhere. Just just like the movie. Right. He's always in a moment. But anyway, so it just
honestly,
boys, bugs me a little bit.
I think that the Korean Baseball League actually has the right idea, because I think we covered this before, but there's one team that is filling their stands with stuffed animals.
Yeah, I saw
which
that.
I think would be phenomenal, And
Yep.
then I just found this one as well when I was looking for that. Apparently there's another South Korean, I think it's a soccer team though, but still, they're filling their stands with sex dolls.
There you go. That's something awesome. Miami would do.
Well, I mean, I think it's particularly relevant. Well, it'd be great for the NBA because apparently Lou Williams went to a strip club and broke quarantine. So they should absolutely have sex dolls at their games. He went for the wings, guys. He went for the wings.
Hey, yeah, right.
Stop it.
I know. We always went to Hooters for the food.
Any alcohol? No, thanks, dude.
There you go. Double fist and White
What
Claws
was
in
her
it.
name? Who called home? Do you
Oh,
remember?
I
She
believe.
was hot.
Yeah. I believe her name was Michelle, and I believe she signed her name on a koozie you bought.
Did she? Do you have that koozie, or
I
do
don't
I?
have it anymore, man. I don't know what happened to that. It probably mysteriously found its way in the trash.
Later that night.
Later or the next day, I don't know. But yeah, good times. I'm interested briefly, and I think this might be from a Little League thing. You have a Sox shirt on. I'm just kind of is that from coaching?
Yeah, the boy had a game.
Okay, thank you. Just kind of curious, Pete. I know if you went south on us.
Yeah, I've changed my
Change your affiliation.
loyalty. Yeah.
You're on mute.
Can't hear you, Elliot. You're on mute. Or you unplugged your microphone.
No, he's
I
on mute.
accidentally. I thought I hit it again. My bad, because
You were so excited about those White Claws.
He got the
I
pre-White
was.
Claw jitters
So
and hit it.
I texted
Yeah.
my brother and I'm like, "Hey man, can you bring me a couple of White Claws? I don't want to get up from the podcast." And he's like,
You
"Any
can get up.
alcoholic knows that you bring a cooler down with you and you put those suckers on ice during the podcast."
You can, if you have to get up for a potty break. Look, I built a special shot. We weren't sure if you're going to show up tonight, so we built a special shot there of just the two of us, just in case. We were
No,
preparing.
it's okay.
Do you have a shot that you can replace me with Elliot so I can get up?
No,
Thanks a lot.
it'll just be this one.
Okay.
Oh,
Or just this one.
perfect.
So
How about
once
that?
so once Elliot or you goes into
So
a monologue,
you
that's
do
my
that,
cue
I'm
to
gonna start
refill.
talking about video games because that's the only shot that you need.
Okay, fair enough.
Unless, unless you bring Braden in.
Yeah, you know what? I'm surprised he hasn't. He forgot. That's the only reason. He hasn't
Nobody's
called in.
watching the show tonight anyway. Nobody noticed.
It didn't go out to the main place where people go to say. That's yeah, whatever. We're good. We're just gonna start doing audio only here pretty soon. I think. Let's do. You know, I bought all this shit for no reason, so we'll just start doing pre-recorded Zoom calls. How about that? I
Okay.
mean, fair enough, right? We'll just go
Whatever.
back to the old days. I mean, whatever. Okay,
The
so
only time we should do live video anymore is when Elle's on.
probably
Just saying.
because nobody's tuning in to look at our faces. I can tell you that right now.
Nobody is tuning in for this.
No, not
maybe
nor
a couple
this. They might for Elliot now since he's slimmed down, but and plus he
right.
was a state champion, right? Oh
State
yeah, you
champ.
got to take care of that, man. You got to get that Just for Men shampoo or something.
Shit.
Just go with it, right?
Do you have
Got
any
that-
shoe polish?
He's got that Steve Phillips
A lot.
whiteness going on.
He does.
Yeah,
He does.
If you
He
get a
looks like
goatee-
Steve Phillips.
yeah. If you grow a goatee, you'll be Steve Phillips. You got a better
that
voice
and
than
if you
Steve Phillips, by
destroy
the way.
New York Mets organization.
Yeah, is he the one responsible for the Bonilla contract? I'm just curious.
Give me till next week. I will have a goatee on next Thursday.
Okay,
The responsibility for the Mets being destroyed is
long before Phillips.
Well, no, he's included in it, but I mean, it's
He kept it going. He kept the baton
Yeah,
going.
he
Yeah.
kept-
Yeah, he got the
He just
baton
passed
passed.
it
He
to the
kept running with
Wilcons.
it. Yeah. Yeah, that wasn't a very long tenure there, but he's got a gig on MLB Network Radio. Elliot, you do have a better voice than Steve Phillips, by the way.
I appreciate that.
he's got a bigger bank account.
He does a lot bigger, and I think he's got a wife like 20 years younger than him.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
20, yeah, pushing it, man. I draw my line at 25 right now. If I had to start all over again, it's gonna be 25.
25 years younger than you, or 25 years old?
25 years old. Actually, probably
Yeah,
like
so that's 20 years younger than you.
almost.
So what are you complaining about?
All right, so
Not
let's.
that he's doing that. Stop. Don't, Sarah. Stop it.
She's not watching
He's
this,
just
man.
speculating.
Never. She hasn't seen a single one of our shows. So let's just talk about a little bit about our teams now. Now I've got. I don't know if I should save myself for last. I'm just gonna do it now, right? So
Just do
it.
Get it out.
We've been doing this
Get
for a
it
couple
out.
years now, and you guys are gonna hear me say the same fucking thing I have for the last 2 years, and you just can't. You can't fake this irritation. You can't. And this is not acting. Whoever is looking at this lineup as it goes out there, or this offense, and you think it's okay, or you have a hope for it, the great thing about this Cardinals team is you can figure them out in a series, and I mean that. This is not about watching them it's not about, oh, let's let it play out. Let's let people find themselves. No, I see it, and I saw it in the first series, and I've seen it 2 games against Minnesota. Every player on that roster has the ability to have power. I don't want to fucking hear St. Louis doesn't have power anymore. I don't care if they have power or not. I want them to make contact in consecutive at-bats, right? Just a few of them. And they strike out. Look, they don't strike out the most. What was amazing? It was a couple days ago. So I'm like already Tuesday. On Tuesday through 4 games. 4 games. 4 games. 4. The Tigers had struck out 55 times. That's pretty goddamn funny. How do you
That's a lot.
So the Cardinals are by far not the worst, but they strike out all the time. And I can't point at any one player and say, all your fault. I love how Facebook group dickheads do this. And they go, oh, Bader's killing this offense. No, man. The whole fucking offense is killing this offense. It's like, Pete, if I show up with a shirt on, I'm like, hey, man, does this shirt make me look fat? You're going to tell me no. It's the fat that makes you look fat, not the shirt. It's not Harrison Bader. It's not Dexter Fowler. You simpleton fucks that can't figure this out, watch the whole game. They all suck.
There's 8 other batters besides Harrison Bader.
Yes, there are. And when you, by the way, shutout last night. Big surprise.
8 other good batters because the pitcher's not actually hitting it.
Oh, I love this. This is the one I love the most. I'm going to get to that in a second. I've already got one in the salvo before that. Look, when your team gets shut out, it scores 2 runs in 2 games. Don't you look at any one hitter and blame it on them. Not even 2 of them. You've got to look at every one of those guys and go, what the fuck is going on? We've picked right up where we left off in 2019. Nothing has changed. I'm fine with letting Marcell Ozuna walk. Streaky, fine, decent player. I was excited to get him. It just didn't work out. I'm over that. It's not because we lost Marcell Ozuna. So you headline reading fucks, stop. That's not it. It's not because we lost Ozuna. This whole lineup has been bad, top to bottom. And it's not just Fowler. It's not just Bader. I know I know that those guys are like lightning rods when you mention their name. Or Matt Carpenter. Throw him in the bucket too. They've all been bad. Colton Wong hasn't been. He started off okay, but the first series you might get an unfair look at this because you're playing the Pirates, right? Can't get too excited over the results because it's the Pirates. So it's like being the least ugly person going out to the bar with your group of friends, right? You can't really get too excited about that. You can't overrate that, but people do. It's just the offense is bad. It's been bad for 2-3 years now, and they just don't do enough about it. And by the way, calling up Dylan Carlson is not going to make the other 8 guys hit. Like he might, but the rest of them aren't going to. Unless they're scared to lose their job, then they might start changing their approach. This team last night, I was sitting out here last night, watching this and going, oh, that inning was over quick. I mean, at least our half was over quick, and it just kept going that way. Like, fuck, man. Look, I don't know. We all want to blame somebody, but I'm looking at all of them, and I'm also looking at this new guru hitting coach whose team's benefited from stealing signs. Jeff Albert, what's the goddamn approach here? Because Harrison Bader has not improved. He has, and I agree, this is the part I agree with the headline barking dickheads. He is bad, and he shouldn't be starting. I don't even know that he should be a major league player. All right, he's got wheels. He's got cute little Goldilocks hair. I don't care about any of that. He doesn't make contact in order to be able to use his speed. He's a fucking Billy Hamilton's what he is. Billy Hamilton's better. But the guy can't hit, and he hasn't shown any signs of turning it around or taking a better approach. He hasn't. He's still batting the same goddamn way, taking pitches that he can hit, so he sets himself up to whiff on the outside off-speed pitch. Like, he's not hard to solve. So, I don't know. It's like a Tyler Perry movie. He has to put Tyler Perry in it so you know Tyler Perry made it. Like, that's how hard Harrison Bader is to figure out. So, Goldschmidt, there's nobody getting, I mean, for the most part, I don't recall. I see him leading off a lot of innings, which means he's not had a lot of people on in front of him when he bats. Paul DeYoung, I don't know what. I just don't know what to think about him. I was excited to see what he might do this year because he looked really good in those inter squad games and stuff you get all hyped up for, and it doesn't matter. But I don't know that he has the protection behind him that somebody like him needs, and so he's not going to carry this whole lineup. Guys, it's the same shit last year. This is a lineup that you don't even have to prep for when you're facing it, and your best bet is to throw somebody at them they've never seen before because they're absolutely fucking clueless. You got shut down by Rich Hill last night. I thought he was dead. Still pitching.
Hey, he's got that big old curve still.
Whatever.
You know it's coming. You just can't hit it.
I mean, 3 hits. 3. I don't know why I'm surprised. It's just, I guess, like when you know you're going to be disappointed and then you finally get disappointed, you get more pissed off. And that's where I'm at right now, and I don't like what I'm seeing. And
he sounds like a Cubs fan.
I sound like an ungrateful Cardinals fan who's been spoiled, and wow, such great winning tradition, and it really has been. And I'm going to stay here, but I'm also going to voice frustration. Last night was kind of a breaking point. I've been pretty even keel and calm and collected. Last night I was sitting out here, I'm like, this. If we waited this long for baseball to finally get back, and this is the shit you just put in front of me, they call it off. I don't want to see it.
Everybody get Corona.
That's right. Rona for everybody. Next round's on me. All right, how about your Cubs? You know how I feel now.
Wait, before we get into the Cubs, I just want to say, I mean, for me, I'm not going to speak for you, Elliot. And honestly, Ron, I don't want to speak for you. Music to my ears, though, like some of my favorite composers, I think immediately Mozart, George Gershwin, and Ron Nuttall bitching about the Cardinals.
Thank you. Thank you.
Chef's kiss.
Thank you very much.
Love it.
Go, Elliot. Talk
Cubs.
about the Cubs.
It's the only thing that has surprised me is Bryant's bad start. But I feel like we kind of saw this at the second half of last year, where he kind of reminded me of Javi Baez, where he was swinging at pitches outside of the zone and not being as patient as he was the couple of years before. Willie is back to, I feel like, where he was. I feel like he's throwing the ball harder, and I don't know how that is possible. I mean, he gunned somebody down at second base the other night, and I was like, holy shit. I mean,
Nick?
Yeah, that's right. Castellanos tried to take second, and I almost felt like Willie should have done
No, he was out by too much to do that. It would have been rubbing it in.
Yeah. So, but also what I've learned from this Reds series is that why the fuck didn't the Cubs sign Nick Castellanos? I mean, that is the biggest miss.
Well, I don't know. I mean, if they had known what was coming this year, right? I mean, why not?
Well, screw what was coming this year. I mean,
no. But I mean, but they were looking at it. They were absolutely looking at it from a, we got to try and get under the salary cap. We got 162 games. We're only going to face the Reds so many times. It's just not in the plans. Had they known they were going to be playing a 60-game series or season,
yeah,
right, where they had no chance now of getting under the salary cap, fuck it. They absolutely would have signed him. Had they had that much advance notice, I can guarantee you they would have signed him, because this year doesn't. I mean, fuck it, doesn't matter. You're going over the cap. You can't. Get under.
I kind of feel like we're at the similar situation we were at last year, where everything's pretty good except for the bullpen sucks. So then the bullpen does suck, and I feel like we're gonna get the Cubs are gonna call up a lot of the younger players that are probably most definitely not ready for the big leagues, just to get a look at them, because people are going to get their ass handed to them on the mound, specifically because they have to face 3 batters every time they come in.
Well, isn't it all equally to give other teams a different look, right? If they're hitting these guys so well, like, what's the harm in throwing a different look or a different arm at him every once in a while, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's really not, but
Honestly, I think that there's a long-term benefit for this, and it's one of the
you get better
I think
looks
it's
at
one
these
of-
guys.
well, yeah, and I think that it's one of the side effects of moving from Joe Madden to David Ross, because Madden would not have tolerated this. When you look
And
at the bullpen composition that's been put together by the front office over the previous 5 years,
Yeah.
Joe Madden always wanted a veteran bullpen, and he never would use young pitchers unless they had somehow proven themselves and had worked their way into his good graces. He relied heavily on veteran. I mean, look at Steve Cishek.
Steve
He's a
Cishek,
perfect example.
Yeah.
David Ross doesn't care.
No.
He just is trying to put together the best possible bullpen. And ultimately, this could benefit the Cubs in the long run because these guys are going to get extended looks that they never would have gotten under Joe Madden.
And I'll finish on this, Pete, and I'll let you go. Kyle Hendricks would have never thrown that 9-inning shutout if Joe Madden was coach.
No, he pulls him after 7 innings.
Go.
Hey, strikeout update. Atlanta Braves through 7 games lead the league with 82 strikeouts. That's 11.7 strikeouts per game. And Detroit Tigers are just 2 behind them. They're at 80. Next closest team's Kansas City Royals at 68. Cardinals are actually at 44, and they've only played 5 games. But anyway, there's your strikeout update.
Awesome.
That's pretty staggering, actually.
No.
Why is baseball losing popularity? Because nobody hits the fucking ball anymore.
Well, and I think that also the 60-game, it's going to be interesting. The 60-game season, I think, is going to add to that because I think guys are going to go all out. I think we're going to see a lot of guys this year who don't miss any games, right? And who swing for the fences and try hard on every single play because there's no point in pacing yourself this year because you're only playing 60 games. And so I think that we could see some strikeout records. We may not see like the raw number strikeout records, but we may see some guys
strikeout
whose
rates.
strikeouts per plate appearance are going to be insane.
It's the what I call it swing porn at one
Is he
point
going
in
to
time.
be Ian Happ level before he went down?
Oh, I think it's going to be higher. I think it's going to be higher.
Yeah, I think you could be right about that, Pete, because you're right. It's like all or nothing, baby. This is like
Yeah.
you know.
Because what do I have to lose?
Right.
If you're going into free agency or you're going into arbitration or whatever, you can just make the argument. It was only 60 games. You got to throw it out. It's not a valid sample.
Yeah, I would have
size.
found myself at game 61.
Yeah, I didn't have a proper ramp up. I didn't have the right spring training. My preparation was all thrown off because of the start and stop of the season. You can't take this as a legitimate number. You got to throw it all out. Of course,
right.
There'll be the guys on the other end. You know, the guy who hits 30 home runs this season is going to be like 30 home runs in 60 games.
That would have been
You
80.
play
That would have been 80.
That's almost 100 home runs. So you got to pay me.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. My math is really shitty right there, but you're right. I don't know. It's like I guess guys that take that mindset is kind of like rock out with your cock out 2020.
Totally.
Yes.
That's going to be it, right? And then you just layer on top of it the fact that they don't know when the season is actually going to end. Like,
Right.
if the Marlins have anything to do with it, it's going to be next week.
gonna be
So you
next
might as well just go all out.
And if anybody signs Puig, you're basically what you're doing is you're putting a Claymore mine in your clubhouse. I mean, so
Like, seriously, the guy's tested positive for COVID, right? Doesn't he have to have like a separate section for his bats?
yeah, I'm not putting them in the
Because
same
his
place.
bats are going to transfer the virus.
Like his bats are going to be in the camera well where photographers sit. Like they're going to be down there where they're not allowed anymore. So, you know what's funny is like I would love to see in these new protocols. No, when a pitcher gets a new ball, it comes in a bag like a cellophane. Like he's got to rip it out and take it out. Like I just don't.
Well, if Pua breaks a bat while he's batting, wouldn't he have to go get his own bat?
Yeah, you can't have bat boys out there
because
anymore.
nobody's gonna want to grab onto it.
Well, I mean, and they don't have bat boys right now either, right? They can't.
I think you're right.
Why would they not? Like, who's doing it?
Or they're gonna have to wear rubber gloves.
I want to see a bat boy come out in a head to toe hazmat suit with pinstripes.
Here's little Davy. It's 92 degrees. He's about to die of heat stroke.
Oh, he passed out.
Oh, he went down.
Oh.
Hey, so to not to shift gears too much here, but so I mentioned this before we went on live here. Well, you know what? I don't want to go to this yet because we skipped over something that was the the Astros finally have a player calling them out physically. That would be Joe Kelly. I don't know if you guys saw the clips of this, but just blatantly throwing it over the head of a couple of Astros players. I mean, it's not even. We know Joe Kelly can get erratic and have, he had that off-season video where he trying to throw a ball into a net and it went through a window.
And his wife got pissed at him. It's like, you're a fucking major league player. How are you breaking goddamn windows?
Well, I don't think the guy's all there upstairs anyway, but so he took it upon himself to make a statement, and he wasn't even with the Dodgers when the Astros beat him, but he was with the Red Sox at one point in time. But look, I get it. Like I'm all for sending a message to these guys, like you guys are scumbags that you did this, and I don't know where you guys stand on this, but throwing 95-mile-an-hour fastball near somebody's head, it just isn't cool with me. I don't care if you're erratic or not. If you want to hit the guy, I have no problem with that. Hit him in the damn ribs, hit him in the ass, hit him in the thigh, all kinds of places you can throw. But throwing it up and around or above somebody's head isn't cool with me. I agree, I think, with his sentiment there, but I think how he went about doing it and the little pouty faces and shit he made at the player, like, look, man, you're a pitcher. You have a hard ball and you're throwing it in my direction. I only have a bat. Yeah. So I don't know. If I was Correa, I think I might have just swung at one and just let the bat fly out there towards the mound. I mean, that's what I would have done. Not that I agree. The Astros are going to have it coming. This isn't over for them. They think they've gotten off the hook because there's no fans. This shit isn't over until the fans get their chance to do it, because they're going to do it.
Yeah, the players are pissed too. So the pitchers are the ones who were burned. Mm-hmm. And specifically the ones who feel like they got screwed.
Right.
They're the ones who probably are going to retaliate the most. Did Joe Kelly have a right? Maybe, but yeah,
well, he got suspended.
I
8
agree
games
with you.
for it.
Don't throw at their heads. I mean, that's just dangerous.
But
dig him in the ribs, whatever, or talk shit. Strike him out and talk shit.
Yeah,
he may have been trying to plant it in his ass. He broke his own goddamn window. He was trying to put it in Bregman's ass, and it went to his head because he has no idea where the ball's going.
Well, that's how he tried to play it, right?
Right. But Dylan Maples is the last guy on the Cubs roster who's subsequently been sent to South Bend. But Dylan Maples is the last guy on the Cubs roster that you want to send out there to send a message, because he could literally kill a guy because he has no idea where that ball is going.
Right.
Well, I don't 100% buy the Joe Kelly. I don't know where it's going either thing. He's been pitching in this league for a long time. If he was that bad, his control was that terrible,
Ron?
Yes?
Ron. Mitch Williams.
That's a unique case, Pete. That's one you can't even study and figure out. I don't know how he finally got hit on the head, I think at one point in time with a line drive, because by the time he was done throwing, he was looking at the center field marker, saying 380 feet or 400 feet at center field. I don't know how that guy knew where he was throwing anything, but he was what you would classically call effectively wild. Like, you had no idea what was coming or where it was going to be. And
neither did he.
And that's that's how he did survive. I don't think that's Joe Kelly, though, so I don't completely buy the complete wildness. That was pretty intentional.
I have to say, guys, I don't disagree with you one bit on all of this. However, I think 8 games is way too long given the length of the season.
I do too.
Yeah.
Yep, I do too. Hey, he'll appeal it. It'll get cut down.
It's equivalent to like 26 games.
Yeah, it'll get cut down. It'll get cut down.
No way.
Yeah, it'll.
Especially because there were no warnings issued.
Yeah.
Nothing was actually said that warranted it. He wasn't thrown out of the game, right? So in the umpire's judgment, there was nothing untoward. I mean, he's got everything on his side to get this reduced to maybe 3 games. And there goes Elliot.
No, he told me he was going to do that. He texted us, and I'm like, yes, Elliot, you can go potty. But please don't hit your mute button on before you toss your headphones down. That's okay. We'll work through that. Look, we have our special view here.
I almost wish that you would just leave it like it was.
Okay.
But if anybody was watching, but since nobody's watching, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Yeah. So I don't know. I wish I could have heard the exchange, but I don't really need to, I guess. But 8 games. It'll no doubt come down. It'll come down to like 6 or 4 games or whatever. He'll appeal it, and I think more than anything, I think the 8 games was a statement out there. It's a message. Look, let's not do this right now. Let's not incite a benches clearing brawl during a pandemic. It's really not a need for that. Their time is coming, and if fans aren't allowed back into the stands until 2021, it's going to come then. And people aren't going to forget about this. I don't care how many Astros players aren't on that team anymore. That shit's going to follow them no matter what team they jump to. So,
because even if the fans forget, the baseball media is not going to let them.
No, the baseball media won't, and you have fans like us that don't forget things either, and so.
But even if we do, all it's going to take is 1 or 2 articles from a blogger or somebody who's like, you remember how the Astros got off the hook, and then that's going to just reignite it all, and we're going to show up and we're going to be drunk and angry.
Yeah,
that's all it takes.
Yep, you're right. Okay, he's still eventually. Actually, I think this is the scene we should show. Until he comes back. We should narrate it. Yeah. Hey, you know what we should do? We should actually, until he comes back, we should kind of analyze what we see in the background. Yeah, I'm wondering what some of that stuff is. I'm looking at, okay, so obviously that's a lot of shit down there.
I know, holy crap.
I don't have near that much. You got a kind of a container, black container, yellow lid on its side. I'm curious what's in there. Almost one of these shows, we might have to have him take that down and show us what's in there. Hopefully nothing battery powered. Some of those other clear bins.
Looks like there's I know those clear bins. They look like they're.
That's the fascinating thing to me.
It almost looks like they're packed with like.
Yeah. Here he comes.
Kind of looks like they're hoarders a little bit.
It does.
It doesn't look like there's any actual organization to it.
Yeah.
It's just thrown into bins.
Yeah, I don't think they throw anything away.
Wild.
I see it all up there.
No, I don't think so either.
Elliot, next week you got to show us what's in some of those bins behind it. We've just been talking about it.
The what?
We got to go through some of those bins next week on the next show.
So.
No, you don't tell us now. We want to save it. It's a mystery.
Not now.
Not
now.
I've got stories.
No. Save it.
Save those stories.
This is a bonus episode all its own. Okay, Save it. Come on,
Elliot's basement.
We got to give the audience what they want. We got to leave them wanting more.
Okay. Anyway. I think that's enough baseball for me tonight. Unless you guys got something else, you just have to get out. I had one little
nothing for
tidbit.
Baseball, but I got some tidbits on the Emmys.
Wait, before you get there, I got one thing. Thank you for the great baseball season, and Ron, you're going to have to dig out that T-shirt, and you're just going to have to cross out. Thank you, Miami Marlins, for the wonderful 2020 season.
I know I still have that somewhere, and I just thought about taking a Sharpie and just putting 20 over it. When I didn't think they were coming back, I was tempted to do that. I did it on Photoshop. But that doesn't count.
Honestly, one of the things that I kind of wonder about is, if this stays isolated to the Eastern divisions, do you really shut down baseball entirely, or do you just say sorry? The Eastern divisions are out of this, and this is the Central and West because we can't afford to take that massive of a hit. The Central and West teams are going to be, because they're completely isolated from this.
Yeah, I you're absolutely right, Pete. That thought has crossed my mind, maybe in a little bit different way. There was on the show I did on Tuesday, Ruffled Feathers, there was a question sent in about, look, the NBA is doing this bubble. Now, in all fairness, NBA hasn't played yet, right? So
and so is the NHL. NHL's doing the bubble too.
Right. And so, should baseball have looked at this more seriously? And of course, now that they were talking Arizona and Florida at the time, it's like the last place you'd want, although the NBA, I believe, is in Florida. I was thinking more like this.
Although, to be fair, the numbers in Arizona and Florida are now starting to stabilize.
What's CNN going to talk about tomorrow? Anyway,
my big thought was, why not do it in Omaha?
Well, here's what I was thinking, Elliot.
Where the College World Series is done.
But yes, got your point. But here's what I was thinking. Since you already have these divisions isolated, West, Central, East, right? They're not going to face each other in the regular season. Why not have 3 bubbles where you have one, say, in D.C. and Baltimore, where you're using 2 parks. You can easily play 5 games a day in those parks. You can play 3 in one, 2 in the other, 2 in, whatever, however you want to do it.
You can play 6 games a day.
God, yeah, you could, but you don't need to. Well, yeah, you're right.
Broadcast all of them so everybody can watch.
The big challenge, though, is obviously you only have 2 clubhouses. So how do you handle?
But you have an empty stadium, man. There's got to be you have an empty stadium. There's all kinds of places those guys can get ready. But if you think about it,
is a naked Bryce Harper running around in the concourse.
Well, but you think about it, even in the Central, like Chicago's got 2 teams in near proximity. Or if you didn't want to do that, you had one of the Chicago teams in Milwaukee, or like St. Louis and Kansas City could have done this too. In the West, you could have Oakland and San Francisco, or the 2 LA teams could have easily, I think, at least logistically, it sounds like it could have made sense. But excuse me, we're given that question. Like, why would you put NHL doesn't have to put their whole damn league in a bubble, neither does the NBA. But baseball had to play their whole year out. Like, you couldn't really put 30 teams in the same location. That would have been shit. I don't know how you would have done it. But, if you wanted to do 3 of those for the 3 divisions, West, Central, East, they could have done that. I mean, I think they could have done that. I don't know that they need to in the Central and West yet. But
oh shit! Think of California, Oakland, San Diego, San Francisco, LA. Yeah. I mean,
I think it's possible.
Plenty.
Yeah, but California hasn't gotten this virus under control at all. Despite all the lockdowns and everything, California is still not under control. Illinois is spiking back up.
Well, I guess the other.
I mean, I think you're right. Realistically, the only kind of place that you could send them would be somewhere that's remote, like Nebraska,
right?
Or Wyoming,
Canada,
somewhere where there's just not a large population to start with.
Yeah, you could.
The problem with that is, how are you gonna house 300 baseball players and keep them entertained enough that they don't try to get out of the bubble because there's enough in the area to keep them content. I mean, I'm sure that's part of the reason why they went to Disney World, is because it's large enough, it has the hotel capacity, but also there's at least enough there to where they're not going to lose their minds.
Well, that's true. But I just
Vegas?
think Vegas, I don't know. You got a lot of people in and out of Vegas, man. They're trying to get open. Imagine all those hotels and casinos that aren't making a lot of revenue right now that are desperate to bend the rules and let people in. So I don't know if Vegas would have been an ideal spot either. But I don't know. I think there's a couple other measures they potentially could have made. But we'll see, man. I feel 75% confident that they will finish out the 60-game season. I can't say that for every team, but I think the league will do that, because I think they're going to be hell bent on getting this expanded playoffs and the revenue those playoffs will generate. I think they're going to be hell bent on doing that. I know some people are doomsday thinking this is all going to be shut down. I'm not there yet.
I agree. And you know what? Actually, this came across while we were on here. It's official. Baseball has moved to 7-inning doubleheaders.
Yeah, should.
Cool.
Okay,
no, I like
all
it.
for it.
I think that'll be great. And I tell you what, I don't know if you guys saw it, but the first man on second for extra inning, kind of exciting.
I didn't watch it, but it was the first leadoff walk-off 2-run homer.
Yes, yeah, I saw that. So it's been how many? It's been over 100 years or something with the so many walk-offs in the first batter of an inning of a game and this many runs. So it's like 1971 and now it's 1973 or 72. So
I'm not a fan.
Of course you're not.
Still not a fan.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of much. Definitely not a fan of yours. Right?
It's okay. Nobody's perfect.
We're not. We try. We're definitely not. We don't even try to be. We had some other news on the other fronts. I'm not really that interested in it. I just thought it was kind of funny. It was a double take for me, looking at Pat Mahomes now being a part owner of the Kansas City Royals. I thought was interesting. I don't even know how that happens, but how old's that guy? And they say right now he's the youngest team owner in sports, or has ever been in sports.
24.
And so I don't know what kind of ownership stake he has, man. It might be like 1%. I don't know, but still, like, Jesus.
I'm sure he's got the money.
Yeah.
He doesn't even need the money, though.
No.
I bet you they give him a larger percentage ownership than he actually invested, simply because of his high profile in the Kansas City area.
Anyway, so interesting tidbit there. Other than that, I think the NHL is getting ready to start back up. That'll be pretty fun. And it's something else that we can watch live. I don't know how the Cardinals have already had 2 off days, only playing 5 games. I'm a little annoyed by that today, because I thought, well, maybe I can have one on the background. We can talk about it as we sit here tonight, but they're not playing. Cubs were postponed, of course. But I'm glad they're getting all these off days so early. Nothing annoys me more. At least the one thing I got to avoid this year was opening day and then a day off right after that.
Yeah, that's the dumbest shit ever.
Yeah, it is. It really is stupid. We bitched about that now for 4 years on here, and not for 4 years, only 3 because they didn't do it this year. But I think they've had too many off days already because nothing cures an offense by making their asses go right back out there the next day and repeating the same shit over and over again. And I hope I get to bitch about this next week too.
I'm sure you will.
Well, I think next up is the Brewers. So I don't know what to think about Milwaukee.
F War. Christian Yelich is currently the worst player in baseball.
Yes, I was going to bring that name up. I'm like, he's not actually. I guess when you can't have the right fielder, the bullpen signaling what pitch is coming, your outcome's a little bit different, right? So,
yeah, honestly, when there are no fans to distract you, it's pretty easy to focus on the lights turning on and off in the outfield.
I don't know how they're going to try to do it this year, but so yeah, he's not off to a torrid start, and so anyway, I don't know what else we want to get into, guys. I mean, I don't really think that. Elliot, you sound like you're about to jump on something.
No. Well, kind of, because the last time we talked about Star Wars and we were talking about Resistance and how we felt like it wasn't that great of a series, they freaking got nominated for an Emmy as one of the best animated series.
Yeah, that tells you about the competition,
I guess. But also, Mandalorian nominated for 15 Emmys.
Unsurprising.
Well, to us, yes, but that's pretty big for the Star Wars universe, I think, because they have normally only been nominated for like Oscars and Emmys for their scientific stuff, but they got nominated for like best drama show.
Hey, Star Wars got nominated for the Oscar.
Yeah, like what, the music and the
best picture. Look it up. 1978 Oscars.
The original. Yes.
Star Wars was nominated for the Oscar.
I'm talking recently.
Oh.
What? Recently?
I wasn't born then.
1977 is recent.
I wasn't born then.
That was.
Oh, well, I'm sorry.
That's not recent for me.
It's not. It's not even modern
day.
day.
A baby birthday boy.
Elliot, can you start all over? What were you saying? I'm kidding. Don't do that.
Go fuck yourself.
Really, the only news on this front has been I've kind of went back and rewatched. My brother saw the gallery for the first time, the Mandalorian gallery. He hadn't seen it yet, and he was like, he did the same thing, man. When he got on that the volume episode, he's hitting me. He's just peppering me with texts like over a half an hour, going, "Oh my god, I can't believe this!" I'm like, "Yeah, man, I didn't know about it either. I had no idea this is what they were using." And seeing that documentary was like, shit, it was mind blowing to him, was to me too. I went back through and watched a few of them today. Still good.
Your timing's beautiful. I mean, Elliot should have opened a can of beer at the same time. That would have been perfect.
Anyway, what the only really news on this front, I think, of any significance, what they've announced. They announced the dates, I think, for the next 3, and I don't think the next movie's coming until 2023. Do I have that right?
Yeah, 2023, but the last one is like 2029, right?
Are they going to take
that
3
trilogy?
years in between? Okay, I don't know. I thought it was every 2 years.
I would assume that assumes though that they're going to be able to start filming on time. I mean, who knows when they're going to be able to get casts back together?
Yeah, true. So that's out there. I don't know which trilogy that was rumored at various points in time that this one's going to be. Is this the Kevin Feige thing? Is this going to be,
I think it is. Good.
Because at least there'll be somebody that has experience with continuity behind it and can hopefully make sense of it. I know that the guys that not created, but the guys that did the Game of Thrones series, I know that they were supposed to have a trilogy, and that thing's off the table. So
yeah, Benioff and
Weiss.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But the only
the
only other news of significance, and it's something we've seen recently, is I guess they're going to do an animated series on the Bad Batch. But I actually think it's kind of cool. I actually went back and watched those with my boys. I really didn't pay much attention to those first 4 episodes of this last Clone Wars season, but it's pretty. That should be pretty interesting. I'm just curious what time frame they're going to show this new series in. Is it going to be post Order 66 is going to be
Yeah.
before that, where it was just those guys. Is Echo going to be? I guess if Echo's a part of the cast, it's going to be post Order 66, I guess. But anyway, pretty interesting. That was, look, it wasn't my favorite Clone Wars story arc of all time, but I thought that cast of characters was pretty interesting. And it's really, I guess we'll find out. Hey, were those guys part of that? Did they have that chip inhibitor chip in them? Did they operate that way, or were they screwed up and it wouldn't have worked on them to begin with? So that'll be an interesting thing to get into. I don't know. I guess the most interesting thing to me is when is it taking place, right? If it's post Order 66, I think that would be more interesting to me.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think because they're the Bad Batch, I think they will do like a post Order 66. The chips have been either removed or they didn't make it or they malfunction, and that's why they are the Bad Batch. So I think that would make sense for the story arc, and to see these guys a little bit later post, because when the Bad Batch got together, it was pretty damn close to Order 66. So there's not a whole lot of story arc that you can do there in that short period of time.
Yeah,
and let's be honest, D. Bradley Baker is what a given for an Emmy nomination, and he really should be. He should be a shoo-in for a win, right? He's going to be voicing 5 characters, and not just 5 clones, but 5 completely different characters. I mean, there's going to be a little more depth in these 5 clones than he normally does. How you don't give somebody like that an Emmy for his voiceover work, it's beyond me. I mean, you might as well just give it to him now.
Yeah, I mean, how much work did he do just on season 7 alone, right? I mean,
oh, absolutely.
He was the star of season 7, right?
Yeah, he had to be. And that's another one I'm probably going to go back and watch over this weekend is just the the Siege of Mandalore, the whole thing. I want to get back into it to see it again. I don't know that any man, we can't go here every week with me. I can't do this every week. I guess I'll give a weekly status update. I think the sequel trilogy still sucks.
Hey, you know what? Maybe Dave Filoni will do a 7-season long live action that fits in somewhere between episodes 8 and 9 that puts everything into context and makes it all better. Yeah. I mean, he fixed the prequels.
He did in a way.
Yeah. Hey, so I had somebody tell me today, and I don't know if this is true or not, that with the Obi-Wan Kenobi series that Disney Plus is doing, Hayden Christensen is going to be in it.
Yeah, I heard that too, and I don't know why it would be necessary to have him in it unless there were memories or flashback scenes. But I mean, the actor's obviously a little older now, and I don't know why you would need him to reprise the role of Vader unless like in Rogue One where I think they made like a dummy of him or something and had him in the tank. I don't know why the hell you need to do it, to be honest with you. Look, and I don't know how you guys feel. I don't need to see Vader in the Obi-Wan series. I don't know why you would do it, because you if you watch these movies out, like he hasn't seen him since he left him on the banks of that lava lake in episode 3, doesn't see him again until episode 4. I don't know why you would have an interaction between the two, unless again it's like recall, like Obi-Wan's going crazy out in the desert and hallucinating. I don't know why you would need him in there. It doesn't make sense to me yet.
I tell you, I'm not specific to this series, but I'm a little disturbed because now they've announced a Lando series. Like,
what?
Can we please stop going?
What? Yeah, this
the
is
Lando
new.
series with Donald Glover.
Okay, how about a series?
Can we stop going back to the well?
I agree with you, Pete. At some point in time, they're just not going to be able to do that anymore. They did it effectively with Rogue One. I loved what they did there. And I didn't mind the Solo movie. It's not one I want to punch up on the iTunes every week, but I don't hate that movie. I didn't need it. A Lando series, like, and I'll say the same thing about the Cassian series. I'm just not that interested. I liked that character in Rogue One. I liked what I got from him. I don't need any more. I don't know why we would need a Lando thing, and I don't know, Donald Glover going to sign up for that? Like, why would you even?
It was announced. He's doing it.
Jesus. Okay. I mean, fine, but okay. I mean, I'll watch it.
Maybe
take my money.
Is the story how he got Cloud City. I mean, maybe that's what they're going to tell.
I don't need to see that, man.
In like Lobot or I mean, it could be interesting, but do we need to know that story? No.
No, we don't. I don't need to know it.
That's a one-off. That is not a series. That's
Yeah.
really, so we're doing essentially Star Wars DS9. If that's what it's
Yeah.
going to be about, if it's going to be about Lando
Yeah.
on Cloud City, then it's Star Wars.
Which I never watched
Which we
one
don't need.
episode of.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I don't. I don't need that. I'll watch it like any other thing they put out. Except, I tell you what, you were talking about Resistance when I stepped away, and I'm sorry, that was rude of me.
No, you're good.
But I was empty. So I don't know what you were saying about Resistance. That's one I just haven't been able to watch, man. It's just
They were nominated for an Emmy for best animation.
well, animation. The animation on it's kind of cool. I mean, I've at least caught it in the background when my sons are watching it. I don't mind the animation if it got an award, so be it. But
yeah,
it's just you know what, this whole
I
post return
watched
of
the series. It's okay. It does not have the emotional pull that Rebels does.
Mhm.
I mean, and I've gone back and I've watched Rebels again for the third time, and you notice more, and it's better. I feel like it's better every single time I watch it.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I've at least watched the story arcs that I enjoy the most. I've went back and watched those a few more times. But I just can't maintain interest in Resistance. And my boys don't even go. I don't think they've watched them all either. I think they've caught maybe one or two every now and then just because it's available. But I don't think they're into it at all. Man, they've really, Pete, I don't know how you feel about this, but this whole post Return of the Jedi thing, man, I feel like they've really botched this whole damn thing. I mean, I know Filoni was kind of behind the scenes on Resistance, but you could clearly tell that he wasn't behind the storytelling on that.
Yep. No.
Because it didn't feel like something he would do at all.
No, he EP'd it, but that's it. I mean, he didn't, unless I'm mistaken, he didn't direct any of the episodes. He didn't write any of the episodes. He just kind of shepherded the thing and brought it to fruition. But yeah, you could tell his fingerprints weren't on that at all.
I mean,
And
for
it
me, very forgettable series. In 20 years, nobody's going to be talking about Resistance or remembering the characters at all. So, and that's a unique thing to Star Wars, because even in the prequel trilogy, we have such shitty characters. Everybody knew who Jar Jar Binks was. Everybody's going to know who Jar Jar Binks is in 20 years, and you're just not going to remember anybody from Resistance at all.
No. In 10 years, actually 10 years, in 2 years, somebody says, hey, remember Kazuda Siono? Nobody's going to know this. They're going to be like, what?
I know one name off of there, and that's the main character, Kaz, and that's because I heard it.
Yeah.
There you go. That's who Kazuda Siono is, which which illustrates exactly that.
Yeah, it's very forgettable. It's not even interesting to me. This whole post Return of the Jedi thing is not interesting to me at all. They haven't done anything yet that has.
They have. They've done The Mandalorian.
Oh, true. Yeah, thank you. You're right. Yes.
You're welcome.
I guess the main storyline though with the main events, they haven't, right? So it's really been I don't know. It's been disappointing. But I think that's all the Star Wars I want to do tonight, unless you guys got something else that's just burning inside your soul. Good.
I got nothing. I'm just glad to be back.
We're glad to have you back.
Glad to have you back.
And I'm glad baseball's back, at least for the 2 weeks that it existed in 2020.
As long as the Marlins will allow it.
It was a good time.
Exactly.
I got to tell you, boys.
All right, Pete, let's go.
Before I take us out, I just want to invite everybody who's listening this on the audio podcast to go to Periscope or to YouTube and rewatch it, because it's not often that you see that I have more color in my skin than both Elliot and Ron.
I think it's my lighting. Hang on.
Screen cap it, save it. Remember this, because 6 months from now, when we're in the dead of winter, Pete will be pale. No, Ron, you can mess with your lights all you want. It's not going to change anything. I've been out in the sun quite a bit.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't do it. I have more melanin in my skin right now than either of you combined.
I'm pretty tan, but
I don't know. You look like Lestat.
Anyway,
for you Anne Rice fans.
When we're not live on Facebook, YouTube, and Periscope, you can find us anywhere and everywhere. Our website is teamofrivalspodcast.com. We're on Twitter at Team of Rivals Pod, on Instagram at Team of Rivals Podcast, and on Facebook at Team of Rivals Podcast. You can send us an email at the show at teamofrivalspodcast.com. You can find Lestat the Vampire on Twitter at
Jesus. TOR_Elliot.
You can find Ron at
TRR_Ron75.
You won't find me on Twitter, so don't bother wasting your time. If you're watching us live, you can also catch us anywhere you listen to podcasts, on Apple Podcasts or on SoundCloud. And if you love this show, subscribe on. It's been a while.
Hit that like and subscribe
If you love
button.
this show, subscribe, unsubscribe, then resubscribe because it shows up as 2 subscriptions and it bumps us up the charts. After you've done that, hit the like button. Subscribe to us everywhere. I'm not just talking about on podcasts. I'm talking about on YouTube, talking about on Facebook. Get those notifications and make sure if you subscribe on YouTube, you got to hit the notifications bell. It's not enough just to subscribe. You need to get those notifications. After you've done that, leave us a review by going to ratethispodcast.com/TOR. All the simple instructions. And don't forget, make it a great review.
Make it the best review your little fingers can type up. We would appreciate it. Hey, next week we got a special, we might not be able to do a video next week, but we are going to hook up with our friends over at Cubs Cards Cast next week. They are the ones that I guess pioneered the rivalry podcast between the Cubs and Cardinals. We were fast followers, but we'll be joined by Dan Curry and John Pierman next week as we get closer to the Cubs Card Series as they face off. So that'll be a fun episode. It's always great to talk to those guys. And until next week, we love you all so much. We'll talk to you very soon. Bye-bye, everyone.